There's the gobble, and here we are. This is the Technical Fowl Show. I'm Jonathan. This is my partner.
Partner in crime?
Partner in a lot of things. I'm just going to leave that as what that is.
That could be taken
partner in a lot of things. We're partners in several things. Yeah, who are you again?
Raj.
That's right.
Not his partner.
Partners.
More like a colleague.
We're partners. I just wanted to start the show today with how we start a lot of shows. Michael Beasley, our favorite guy, favorite player.
Horrible.
Let's just say that he is transitioning into a phase of his career in where he's a reliable scorer.
He's only played in like 2 or 3 games.
He's a reliable scorer.
DNP is his first 5 games.
But he's also
DNP.
A defender that you can trust.
DNP.
That should be the Beasley slogan.
Like garbage time.
That should be the Beasley slogan. A defender you can trust.
Garbage player.
He had 10 points in the first half of the game, so not garbage time. 10 points. Ended up with 19 against the Milwaukee Bucks. He had some nice. Yeah, well, I mean, he played a little towards the end of the fourth quarter. But I say he probably averaged about 4. He got 14 legitimate points, and then maybe 5 that were in garbage time. But hey, you know, he was scoring. He was 5 of 7. He wasn't wasting any dribbles. He was making moves. He was making good decisions with the ball. He was passing it when he should have passed it. He finished a couple alley-oops. He hit some big shots. He hit some big threes. What he is doing for this team is he is providing the offensive spark that a lot of times championship teams that win championships, end up losing because they're complacent. And sometimes you need that change of pace player. Norris Cole is a similar player. He does things like that. He comes on, provides energy. Birdman did it in his year, when he was playing with the Heat earlier last year.
So you think that's going to happen again?
I think that if they can find a spot for him, I think that it will be able to get LeBron and Wade and Bosh, the people who matter, get them rest and not have to burden them with the everyday. You know, we're losing against the Charlotte Bobcats. We need you to score. That way they can put Michael out there, and the times where they're, you know, let's say that Wade now only has to play 30 minutes a game instead of playing 35, 39, you know, something like that.
Well,
so,
Wade's on my fantasy team, so
Beasley took some of Wade's shots.
He took 7 shots yesterday.
Yeah.
Why is Dwayne Wade taking 7 shots?
They didn't really need him to score. He was doing other things. He didn't play very much. I think he only played about 30 minutes or so. LeBron had 33 points in 30 minutes. I had him on my fantasy team. But yeah, I just thought we should focus on Beasley, because if he can find a role on this team, if he can do what he's been doing and not be a defensive liability, grab some rebounds, pass the ball, try to make it work, I think he can still have a career. And I think that he went from a guy who maybe no one was going to take to a supposed cancer in the locker room, player that selfish, ball hog, ball stopper, whatever you want to call it. He transformed into a player that now...
Well, it was more of his attitude off the court.
His attitude off the court, but also on the court. I mean, he was a, you know, like a Corey Maggette, a guy who would score, but he would just, you know, it wasn't a guy that contributed to a good offensive team. And now I think that maybe he's learned his lesson being around all these veterans, learning how to contribute to a team that's actually competing for championships. And he's tried to figure that out. The reason he got so many DMPs at the beginning of the season was because he was still figuring it out. They were still going through the defensive stuff. He was practicing. They're just trying to see. Spoelstra's a guy who likes to experiment. He threw him out there last night, and the fans love him in Miami. I mean, he's just their guy, because they remember we drafted him 2008, number 2 overall.
The only good thing about him is he's a new Kent Bazemore.
Well, he did that in one game.
Bazemore is a guy who was screaming on the bench.
He did that in one game.
No, Beasley, I mean, every time I watch like Heat games or Heat highlights, he's on the side screaming.
He didn't do it last night, from what I remember. But
because
anyway,
he was playing.
Maybe that's because he was playing and he decided he needed to rest. But yeah, I'm happy with what we have in Beasley. I think that he's contributing to the team, and I think that
More importantly, you know who's playing well?
nobody.
He has it all.
Who's that?
He has it all.
Who's that?
Monte Ellis. Monte Ellis has it all.
Monte Ellis is not that good.
Monte Ellis has it all.
Let's just be.
If anyone has.
Let's be realistic here. Monte Ellis has nothing.
He has it all. He's averaging 22.5 points per game, 5 assists, 4 rebounds.
I would like to draw a diagram
47%.
of what Monte Ellis has.
And he leads the league in drives per game at 11.
Oh, like it'd be a circle,
Taking 7 free throws a game.
and it would say Monte. What does Monte have? Would be the name of the diagram.
Okay, here's the thing. People
And
knock
he would
him.
have nothing.
People knock him before, but he's also been on bad teams.
Has
Correct?
Yeah.
The Golden State Warriors.
He contributed to
both
those
bad
teams being bad.
So he's in a good system. Yeah, it's only been 7, 8 games.
Horrible
but-
shot selection.
But this season so far, he's been playing perfectly well. He's been fitting the offense really well.
How are the Dallas Mavericks
I
doing?
watched the whole Mavericks Wizards game last night from start to finish.
Really?
And
Tell me more. Hey, did you watch it on League Pass Mobile?
no,
Because
because it doesn't work for the Wizards.
League Pass Mobile it worked for me the other day. Did you try? Have you tried it?
On the Wizards?
Yeah. I watched the Wizards on my mobile.
Didn't work.
It was.
Wizards
Did
get
you
blacked
try
out
it?
for me. No.
Did you try it though?
I did.
It-
It wasn't an option.
Oh.
I couldn't click on it.
I was just wondering about that because I encountered that too, and I was like, usually they're blacked out. I wonder why they're not.
As a Monte fan, I can tell his game is completely different. Just
It's not.
it is because the game started out. You know, like I said, he's leading the league in drives per game and free throws.
Drives
so
per
he's,
game.
he's been going to the he goes to the basket a lot if you watch.
Uh-huh.
He missed 4 layups, which you're
Uh-huh.
0 for 4. I mean, okay, but at least he's being aggressive, right? And then after that, he stopped going to the basket and he started distributing really well. He was getting every time he got in the paint, dished off to Dallenberg, kick it out to Carter for 3, or Dirk on the baseline. I noticed he did that for a majority of the second quarter. Comes in the third quarter, he like kind of scores on and off, and then the fourth quarter he kind of took over as like a scoring role.
I'm not a fan.
Played well. He had 19 points, 7 assists. I'm just saying, Monte Ellis, if he keeps that up, then why not him and Dirk, who just passed Jerry West on the scoring list last night?
They're gonna get.
They're going to get in the playoffs. They're 5-3 right now, or 5-2, 5-3. They're going to get in the playoffs. I feel like, especially if those two keep it up. And like I said, Monte's finally being an efficient player. We've always known he's a great scorer, right? So if he can be efficient, then I don't see what the problem is, and why they can't get into the playoffs.
He's not a very good defender. That's one thing.
Well, I mean, he's always been an okay defender. He averages 2 steals a game,
Not defense.
so he's okay.
It's
He's
not
not as bad as everyone makes him out to be.
All right.
He's a guy who will hedge and go for steals. He takes gambles a lot.
Yeah.
But that can transition to our next segment with trends that we think will continue.
We'll have to talk about that after the break, so stick around. Welcome back. We were just talking about trends. There was a good piece on Grantland from Zach Lowe, the basketball writer, and he was pointing out some trends, some things. I think one of his things was Miami's defense wasn't very good.
Miami's like
Which-
25th or something.
Yeah, 27th or something like that. He noted that also that did happen last year. They did
But I
start
mean, that's
out
obviously
poorly.
not going to continue throughout. Everyone
We
knows
don't
that.
think so. We don't think so. I think they'll figure it out.
I mean,
The offense, though,
Miami's 5-3.
the offense though, amazing offense. The ball moves like maybe better than any other team in the league right now. And possibly the Clippers they're also doing very well.
I mean, everyone kind of expected the Heat to drop off a little bit in terms of, will the motivation be there the same every night kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that's where that kind of comes in.
And I think it's good to have the Pacers playing
Pacers,
so well.
hey, no.
I think it's good to have that because I think that's gonna make Miami motivate. It's gonna motivate.
Definitely.
Put the standings in
Because
the locker room.
this is increasing Indiana's confidence, saying we can beat the Heat, and then the Heat are going to come out and be like, all right, well, prove it.
That's real great, Indiana. Let me know when you actually do something. Beat a team that's for real.
Hey, they took them to 7 games. They almost won,
Yeah, but they didn't really.
but they almost did.
They also didn't.
Okay. We'll see what happens this year in the playoffs.
I'm not a fan of Indiana. Also, that whole little bench that everyone was talking was going to be so great. I don't think so. Luis
So
Scola.
much better than
Luis
last year.
Scola's been
They had the
sucking it
worst
up.
bench last year, or they were like 28th or 29th.
Yeah. So now that the 25th.
No,
Great.
Now they're like I think
Luis Scola is not any good anymore. Newsflash, the guy hasn't played well in like 3 years. All right? Don't pretend like this is Luis Scola who led the Euro League in 2010.
You don't need him to come in and... Okay, if David West and Roy Hibbert are each playing over 30...
I'm just saying, people were saying, oh, it's a sneaky... That's a sneaky... They got a sneaky deal there with the Luis Scola off the bench. No, the guy's not any good. Give it a rest. Play him in the playoffs. I'd love to see him. If I'm Miami, I'd love to see him guard LeBron in the playoffs. I just like to see it.
Why would he guard LeBron?
Because he's the power forward. And they're gonna play their great new bench that's so good at everything.
They're not stupid. They're not gonna put him on. They're gonna put either David West or Chris Copeland or Danny Grant.
I'd like to see Chris Copeland on. I'd like to see Chris Copeland on him too. I just don't think that they're that good.
You're not gonna put Luis Scola. If you want to put Luis Scola in like halves.
They've also benched. They benched George Hill for C.J. Watson. C.J. Watson got the start recently, so I wonder, is that a trend? Because I think it was the space.
No, it's because George Hill was injured.
I think that might have something to do with it, but it was Vogel experimenting, because I think that...
That's because CJ's more of a ball handler.
He's a ball handler, but he can space the floor better than George Hill. And Lance Stevenson, when you play a guy like Lance Stevenson, you need space from the point guard. You need the point guard to be able to shoot. And George Hill was an okay shooter, but C.J. Watson's a better spot-up shooter, which is what the point guard would do in that system. So it's right. Good. I think, maybe George Hill goes to the bench. Maybe he's a better bench scorer. I mean, he's more of a combo guard than he is a point guard.
So, I guess this goes with their trend. Pacers are 8-0. Do you think they end up with the best record in the league?
No, I think they win 82-0. That's probably a good trend.
Do they end up with the best record in the league?
Not in the league, no. This is one of those...
I think they do. I think in the past, the record has always been usually from the East. When Chicago beat Miami twice, even.
Yeah.
So I think since Chicago kind of took a step back, Indiana took a step forward. The West is a little too even.
It is possible
because you don't know who's going to come out West. It could be San Antonio, OKC.
It's possible that they could be the Chicago Bulls, the team that beat all of those bad teams.
So why can't Indiana be the Chicago Bulls?
Because they're not that good. Because I don't think Hibbert stays healthy the whole season. I think last year they had so few injuries, and I don't think that happened. Not few injuries in general, but few injuries to their key players. And I just don't think that's going to happen again. I think Hibbert being the size of the frame that he has and the history that he's had of not playing full seasons before last season in the playoffs, I don't think he's going to. That's just what I think.
All right.
I'm not a fan of the Pacers.
What about the Phoenix Suns? 5-2.
Yeah.
Eric Bledsoe's on fire.
But it's not Eric Bledsoe. It's they play good offense. Is what's surprising.
It is, but at the same time, one of the things that bad teams usually lack is a closer. And Eric Bledsoe has been closing fourth quarters. And he's a guy who kind of takes over a little bit and scores.
They got the Plumlee guy. I'm not sure which Plumlee it is. I want to say Miles or Mason or I don't know. They got one of the Plumlees. He's pretty good. He's been average. He's putting up some good points.
Markieff Morris.
Markieff has been great. The other Morris brother not as good, but that's I saw a stat. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Schumann. Said that when they both had over 15 points, and that was the first time twins had gotten over 15 points on the same team. So that was kind of a cool stat. Since like 1967 or something like that. So it was kind of a cool.
Who else is 5-2? The Portland Trail Blazers, who I said would make the playoffs.
Did you?
I did.
I
said them in Minnesota and would get the 7.
So you're wrong about Dallas. You're already saying that you're wrong.
Well, I'm saying Dallas could make it, but I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is they've been underlooked a lot, and I thought they were going to be good. Wesley Matthews has been balling.
Has he? I think that they'll miss the playoffs, and I still think that. I think this is just where it starts. The
problem with Portland is they usually have pretty bad luck with injuries. Someone probably will get hurt.
Yeah. I believe the Bobcats started 9-8 last year or something like that, or 8-7 or something like that last year. So what happened to them? They won.
Okay. Don't compare the Bobcats with LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard, and Nick Batum, and Wesley Matthews.
They got a good team on paper. I just think that they'll probably come up a little short. They're a little too jump shooty, and
they are.
And their best players all shoot jump shots, and that can be good. But you're going with a percentage there, and it's not a very high percentage compared to a post player, compared to a slashing player.
But one thing I do like is they are pretty well balanced.
Yeah. They got good defense. They got good offense. They got. I don't know how
you
good
got
their coach is.
LaMarcus. You got a good point guard, and you got two
Sure.
wings who kind of do a little bit of everything, and Batum and Matthews. So I mean, I like this team. I think they could go far.
You think go far in the playoffs?
The Lakers are 4-5.
Finals? You gonna say Portland's gonna go to the finals?
No.
Portland in the finals. You heard it here first.
Nope,
Resident
not saying
expert. Resident expert Raj.
All right, when we come back, we can continue with these trends.
You're gonna bring us back.
All right, I thought you would do it. Usually do it. So.
Do I do it? I didn't notice that.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Lakers are okay. Denver looks pretty bad, you know.
I mean, did anyone expect them? Okay, they're
People thought they weren't going to be that bad, and they fell
are
apart.
idiots.
They fell apart. What happened to Fareed? He looks like he doesn't know how to play anymore.
Okay, it also depends on the system and the coach. That
I think
on.
Fareed's value was a little bit overrated last year.
Here's another thing I want to bring up. New York there's like rumors out there, and New York's interested in Fareed. Bad idea if that happens.
Why?
Because Mike Woodson likes to slow the ball down, give the ball to Melo, give the ball to JR in half court.
Traditionally, yeah.
Okay. What is Fareed gonna? Fareed is a guy who likes to run up and down the court.
Yeah.
Which they're not gonna do. He is undersized. He's only 6'8", so that doesn't help their little center problem.
Do we think Fareed?
He's not good at defense at all. He's just a good rebounder.
Yeah, but that's best part of defense.
He's always been a minus defender.
Do we think that Fareed maybe is at his ceiling, or do we think that Fareed maybe can get better? I mean, just because he doesn't do these things doesn't mean he can never do these things.
It depends on the team and the structure.
Right, I know.
That team ran last year.
Right, I know.
If you watch Denver, they look like a complete mess.
They are a mess because they got a personnel that doesn't match their coach. The coach is trying to do certain things, and the personnel doesn't match, so it's a mismatch.
Yeah, not only that, but like you lost last year. You lost, Wilson Chandler, Corey Brewer, Iguodala. These guys who run.
Yeah, they lost a lot of their
now they're
guys.
playing like Andre Miller and Randy Foye out there.
They're not
with
working players.
Ty Lawson. So you got a 3-guard lineup and JJ Hickson. So
I'm gonna.
what are you doing with this team?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I predicted them not to make the playoffs. I believe,
Yeah,
and I
same
just didn't think that. I didn't think that we don't know what Brian Shaw. I mean, maybe he's a good coach. Maybe he's not. But at this point, I'm not confident in him. JaVale also just got hurt, so that's not going to help their chances. I see them being in the lottery, and it's kind of sad because they were the franchise high record. They had a franchise record high in wins and stuff like that, home wins, all those sorts of things. So it's disappointing to see. They had a good team and now they don't. And back to Free for 1 second. Just because he likes to play in a run and gun system where he can grab a ton of rebounds, he can get tips, he can get putbacks and stuff like that, doesn't mean that you can't teach him how to play real basketball. So if the Knicks traded for him, maybe have him learn behind Amari Stoudemire.
Amari Stoudemire doesn't even have a postgame.
Back in the day, Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash was the best pick and roll combo ever.
New York doesn't run pick and rolls.
Not right now.
If they do, it's Felton and Chandler.
Right, but Chandler's not playing, so how about you do a pick and roll with Felton and him and see if he can learn how to do stuff like that. That's just what I'm saying. Just because he doesn't know how to do this thing doesn't mean
it doesn't.
He won't ever be able to.
First
do
of all,
that.
he's not going to be much different than Bargnani. You might as well have Bargnani out there first.
Bargnani's a completely different player. Bargnani's a shooter. Bargnani
so
is.
In terms of defense, it's not going to help. You might as well just have Bargnani out there.
But they're not playing the same position. You can play him at small forward. You can go huge and play Melo at the 3 and play him at the 4. Or Melo at the 4 and him at the 3. Kind of, but let's say you take out you play Bargnani and suddenly there's only one player.
I don't think that would help. And to do that, they would have to give up Iman Shumpert, which is not going to help that either way. Because if anything, Iman at least is your good perimeter defender. If someone's getting by on the perimeter and there's no one inside to help out, then
that's true. But he can only guard one player at a time.
It's better than no player at a time.
But
all right, real
it's
quickly,
only better by one.
I want to start a Twitter trend hashtag fire Randy Whitman.
Okay.
That's
too long. Fire Randy. You started it last week?
No, we got to do the fire Whitman. No, I started it after yesterday's game. After the Dallas game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He should be fired. He's not a very good coach.
2-5. His total winning percentage for the Wizards is 33% since he's been coaching, which is pretty bad. I think he should go. I think it's time for a change. They expected this team to make the playoffs. A lot of people expected them. As soon as Okafor went down, they made a panic. They were like, they traded for Bertot. I think you get rid of him. It's time for him to go. Get some new blood in there. I would like to pick up George Karl. I think George Karl is a coach.
I think you've said that on here before.
George Karl is a coach who, gets the best out of his teammates or his players.
Yeah.
He coached Nene once before during Nene's best seasons in Denver. So
generally, you don't see the big name guys, and the starter said this. You don't see the big name guys get put in the middle of a season.
Mike D'Antoni did it.
Yeah, but that was I guess that was similar timing.
If the Wizards are actually serious about making the playoffs, you got to do it.
And that's the kind of a problem that I saw with this team. It's like the management is prepared. They've been doing these deals and moves to get to be in the playoffs. But Randy Whitman wasn't a playoff coach. Randy Whitman was a coach that came in after Flip Saunders was fired.
Yeah, he was just an assistant.
He was an assistant coach. So all I'm saying is, it seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect in the management over there. They understand we need better players, and they've gone out and gotten better players. But players aren't the only thing. You can look at what the George Karl did last year with the Denver compared to what they're going to do this year. This year they might be lucky to win 30 games. Last year they won 58 or whatever. So all I'm saying is that if management really wanted to be successful in the playoffs, they should have gotten a coach that kind of exemplified that thought process. Now it just looks like they got this coach that doesn't know what he's doing out there. His win percentage is horrible no matter where he's been. He clearly isn't a head coach. I'm not going to say he's not a coach, but he's not a head coach. His record has proved that. Mm-hmm. So, it's just weird that they would go out and make all these moves and then keep this coach that was hang-along, or he was just
a temporary coach.
Yeah, he was a hanger-on from the Flip Saunders regime, which is gone.
I mean, I watch a good amount of Wizards games, and
do you?
When I watch, I feel like there isn't a set offense. I feel he's more of a defensive coach, which is why last year they were number 10 overall defense, or number 8, sorry. And they're still not too bad defensively, but it's their offense. I know, and part of it relies on John Wall. He's not playing the way he was at the end of last year.
Getting a lot of assists, though. I'll give him that. He's probably averaging about 9 or 10 assists.
When I watch the Wizards games, I just feel like they're kind of like a YMCA basketball offense. They just kind of run up the court. If Beals will run around the screen, or if he's not open, give it inside in the net. And they don't run anything for Gortat, who's a decent scorer.
Yeah.
Wall, if he only runs, he either gets the ball and runs up the court, and if he doesn't have a layup or a fast break attempt, he will give the ball up, and he only shoots it if he gets the ball back. He's not really aggressive trying to go one-on-one. So I think their offense needs a lot of structure, which clearly Randy Whitman's not doing.
Yeah, so I agree. We should say that you never want somebody to lose their job, but in this case, it just doesn't seem like management was really prepared to be in the playoffs, because if Randy Whitman was in the playoffs, he would be embarrassed. I hate to say it like that, but coaches matter in the playoffs. And
I do think, though, I call that he would be the first coach to get fired this season. Even if he doesn't, he's gone at the end of the season if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think he's gone even if they do make
and
the
management
playoffs.
knows that. They know. They clearly made this Gortat trade for that reason. So.
Yeah, well, I guess that's all this week. Next week, you guys can join us, and Raj can get a few phone calls in the middle of the segment like he did this week. But yeah, I guess is that it?
Gobble gobble.
Wait, not yet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. All right. Go ahead.
Gobble gobble.
Go Huggies.